Hello students, welcome to our Excel Academy YouTube channel. In this video, we shall discuss the characteristic features of sole proprietary and partnership forms of businesses. Now, before we get into the characteristic features of sole proprietary and partnership form of business, let us understand a few basic definitions related to this concept. The first thing is all the activities that we do can be broadly classified under two categories. The first one is the economic activity and the second one is the non-economic activity. Under the economic activity, we have three subcategories and they are business, profession and employment. Now, majorly we take up the economic activities to earn money, whereas the non-economic activities are usually taken up for self-satisfaction. Say for example, if somebody has the hobby of drawing, if he or she takes up some drawing, it is purely for their hobby purpose or for self-satisfaction. But when it comes to economic activities, these activities are basically taken up for earning money. So when we take business as the first economic activity, we understand that a business is an economic activity which is engaged in the production and distribution of goods and services. This business can be owned in different forms. The different forms in which a business can be owned includes sole proprietary, partnership, Hindu undivided family, joint stock companies. Then there is also something called LLP. Now, in this video, we shall discuss the characteristic features of sole proprietary and partnership. Now, let us see the characteristic features of sole proprietary. Sole proprietary is also called sole trading. Now, the first characteristic feature is it is single ownership. Now, what we understand by single ownership is this business is owned by one person. Now, there is a common doubt that students will have is if a company, if a business has one owner, but it has multiple employees, will that business still be called sole ownership? Yes. Here we are concerned only about the number of owners and not the number of people working for that business. So if there is one owner and there may be several employees, still it is called single ownership. Second point is no sharing of profit and loss. Here the entire business is owned by one person. All the profit that emerges out of the business or all the losses that is incurred by the business is the responsibility of the owner. He need not share or he cannot share it with anybody. Third point is one man's capital. This business is sole proprietary. So this business is owned by one person. All the capital that is required for this business is also sourced by one person. One man control. Since everything is brought into the business by one person, it is that one person who controls the entire business. Next point is unlimited liability. Now, what is unlimited liability? There is no difference between the personal accounts of the person and the business accounts. That is, the personal money of the business is as good as the business money. So the liability emerging out of the business has to be furnished with the personal resources. Next point is less legal formalities. Sole proprietary is one of the oldest forms of ownership of business that we find in the world, and it is one of the most easiest businesses to start. The legal formalities to start the business are very, very minimum. Now let us see the advantages and disadvantages of sole proprietary. Now let us first concentrate on the advantages. It is easy to form, very easy to form since the legal formalities are minimum. Quick decision making because it is one person who takes the decision in the business. So decision making becomes very easy. There is better control because it is one person who is heading the business. So he has complete control over the business. Maintenance of business secrets. Business secrets are the key for success. So here, since the business is owned and understood by one person, all secrets are safe with that person. And there is close personal relation with the customers, with the suppliers. This is one person who deals with everybody and there is close personal relationship. So all these are the advantages of sole proprietary. Now let us focus on the disadvantages. First one is limited capital. While discussing the characteristic features, we discussed that it is one man's capital. So it is one person's ability that matters in arranging for the capital since it is limited. Second point is it is unlimited liability. There is no difference between the personal resources and the business resource. If something goes wrong in the business, the person owning the business has to compensate it with his personal resources. Lack of continuity. suppose the family members are not interested in the business, this business will come to an end. So we also call it as lack of perpetuality. The next point is limited size. Limited size. It is because the amount that is coming into the business, that is the capital that is available to the business, and the resource that is available to the business is limited. As a result, the size of the business is also limited. Lack of managerial expertise. Now, it is one person's brain that works here, and the kind of managerial experience and expertise he brings into the business is also limited, and this leads to lack of managerial expertise. So these are the advantages and disadvantages of sole proprietary. Now let us move on to the next type of ownership, that is the partnership type of business. Now let us first focus on the characteristic features. First point is, to form a partnership business, a minimum of 2 persons are required. This is very common. We are talking about partnership, so there should be a minimum of 2 people who come together and start the business. The second point is, partnership firms are governed by Indian Partnership Act of 1932. This is very important. This can be asked in the form of MCQ in the examination. Please remember this. Partnership firms are governed by Indian Partnership Act of 1932. Next point is competence of partners. Now, with whom do we form partnership? It is people having different set of skills and strengths generally come together, and they bring in competence to the business, and this makes the business vibrant. Next feature is sharing of profit and loss. Because the resources, the competencies, skills and efforts are brought in by a lot of people, all the profits and losses that the business is able to generate is shared by all the partners. There is unlimited liability. The unlimited liability factor continues here also. If the business fails to do well, the liability emerging out of the business is to be settled with the personal resources. Next point is voluntary registration. It is up to the partners to decide either to register their partnership firm or not to register it. Although it is advised that they register their partnership firm, it is purely voluntary for them either to register or not register. Dissolution of the partnership. The moment we use the word dissolution, the thing that comes to our mind is it is a closure of the business. It need not be closure of the business. It can be retirement of partners or death of partners. Whatever is the reason, if there is a change in the partnership structure, all that is covered under the dissolution of partnership. So all these are the important characteristic features of partnership business. Now let us shed light on the advantages and disadvantages of partnership. Advantages: it is easy to form. When right people come together with ideas, the partnership business can be formed, and the registration process is also very simple. Favorable credit standing: when multiple people come together, the strength of the business is assumed to be more, and their credit standing, that is availability of loan and other advances, become easy for them. When compared to sole proprietorship, the availability of capital is larger because here multiple people are coming together and starting the business. Union of business abilities: when multiple people come together, they are also bringing in business ability to the organization. And the next point is greater management ability, because different people, different ideas, different sets of skills and strengths coming to the business, the management ability is also on the higher side. Break on haste decision. So here people have to discuss, come to a conclusion, then they should have consensus, only then the business decisions are taken. So these are the advantages of partnership business. Now on the other side, we have the disadvantages. The first and the foremost disadvantage is there is unlimited liability. We have discussed enough and more about unlimited liability. I hope all of you understand what is unlimited liability. Second one is limited life of the firm. If partners decide to part away, if partners lose interest in the business, there is a good chance of the business coming to an end. Frozen investment. Although we tell that the investment that is made can be taken out of the partnership business, it is not as easy as it is told. So the investment once done in partnership business is sort of locked in the business for some time. Dispute amongst the partners. This is quite common. When people come together, when they come in with different ideas and backgrounds, there is a good chance of disputes emerging amongst the partners, and this might prove detrimental to the business itself. Lack of trust from the public. Whenever a partnership firm is established, there is always room for doubts and dilemmas in the minds of the public whether this business is going to do well or not, and there is always a question mark from the public about its future. So this is another area of concern. The last disadvantage here is the divided control. Multiple people bringing in multiple resources to the businesses, they will have their share, or they would need their share of control in the business, and this leads to divided control. So these are the advantages and disadvantages of partnership firms. If you have any doubts in this, you can leave it in the comment section. Let's move on to the last part, that is the content of the partnership deed. Now this is very important. This is a deed, this is a document which the partners have to prepare, and although it is told it is voluntary registration, it is advised that they register their partnership deed, then it will have a legal standing. These are few of the common heads that are to be covered in the partnership deed. So what does it include? It includes the name of the partners and address. So who are the partners and where they reside is to be written. Name of the business and the address, where is the business being carried out. Next is the nature of the business. What is it that the business does? Do they deal with goods, services, production, distribution? Whatever they do, it has to be described in detail in the partnership deed. Followed by capital investment by partners. What is the capital that each partner has brought in? Profit sharing ratio. Profit sharing ratio is the amount of profit that the business earns, in what ratio are they distributing it amongst the partners. If it is not mentioned, then it is assumed that it is equal sharing of the profits. Next point is interest on the capital that is invested by the partners. Will the business pay any interest on the capital that they have brought in? Or if they want to avail loan, what is the interest that the business charges on the loan that they are availing from the business, that is the partnership firm. Next one is method of solving disputes. Now, nobody would like to go to the court of law to solve their issues. It becomes a very lengthy, laborious process. So the partner should be clear, if at all there is any disputes, what is the best method of solving it. And the last one is registration of the deed. Although it is not mandatory to register the deed, it is advised that the partnership deed is registered. So these are few of the important heads that are to be covered in the partnership deed. So this concludes the characteristic features of sole proprietary and partnership form of business. If you have any doubts, please leave it in the comment section and we shall get back to you with the right answers. Thank you so much.